I met Lorna Fox. Matter of fact, this was the first day. This was before I even went on the air. I was sitting downstairs waiting to meet the general manager for the first time. Lorna Fox walked through the door and walked by me, and Robert was there. And I turned to Robert and I said, "Who is that?" And he said, "Leave her alone." And I said, "What?" He said, "Leave her alone." He said, "She just got to have a bad relationship. Leave her alone, don't bother." And I went, "Okay." All right. So a few months after that, I guess we had our Christmas party. But before the Christmas party, Lorna, and I left her, I didn't bother you. I was really nice to her like everybody else, treated like everybody else. And she asked me if I would go with her to the Christmas party. And literally, this was in the studio, and I literally looked to the left and looked to the right. And I looked at her and I go, "Me?" She says, "Yeah." And I went, "Okay." So we went to that and then we started hanging out, and it was a comfortable relationship. It wouldn't really start going out or dating a boyfriend-girlfriend. We were just hanging out all the time, everywhere, sitting in a park, walking to a store, going grocery shopping, in the library, just being together. And I don't know, it probably took me like 3 to 6 months to make a move on her, and I warned her with 6 months into our relationship. I said, "I'm probably going to ask you to marry me, so you should run now." And sure enough, on February the 14th, I have the date in my PDA. I don't remember what the years was. I probably should. I'm always bad with stuff like this, but I'm gonna say 94. If I'm off, I'm off. But I remember February 14th, on the air, my mother brought Lorna to the station, kind of duped her into coming. And at the last break to my air shift that day, I was doing middays, just before Bruce came on. At the end of the commercial break, Lorna and Mom was standing there, and I said, "All right, I got to get out of here, maybe wait for Bruce St. James." But before I do, slid the chair back, stood up. I said, "Lorna Fox is here at the studio." And I said, "There's something I've been wanting to ask you for the longest time." And she had no idea what was going on. She didn't know I had picked up rings or anything like that. I dropped down to one knee and I asked her to marry me, and I didn't even hear the answer. I didn't even hear anything. I was so scared. I said, I'm not the best. I don't know if I'm going to be the best, but I really do love you, and I'm deeply in love with you, and I think we could do this and make it. And I really want to spend the rest of my life with you. And I proposed to her on the air. And I didn't hear the answer. And then people were calling in the station after the break going, "Was that for real? Is that for real?" And it was for real.
That had to be the one most memorable. Slick proposed to me on the air. We had been dating for quite a while, and on Valentine's Day, he got down on one knee, and on the air, went ahead and proposed to me right there on the air. And it was surprising to me because I didn't expect it, but it was something listeners, were able to be a part of, and it was a nice thing that happened.
It's funny, this character is a combination of all of the characters that I knew in my life growing up. I'm originally from Philadelphia. We have a lot of characters, specifically in Northeast Philadelphia, very, very heavily Jewish populated. My father owned an auto repair shop down in Northeast Philly. All his customers were over the age of 50. All of them were Jewish. Most of them were women. And I spent a lot of time as a kid working in the gas station. I pumped gas as a teenager. That was my summer job, Can I wash your tires? Can I wash your windows? Can I fill up your oil? Don't spill gas on the side of the car. And this character became Marion Rosenthal. She was all that in a matzo ball, Marion Rosenthal. And she kind of had a high voice like this. And we made it from Long Island, and she was always schwitzen, which actually, schwitzen actually means hot, but we kind of use it to mean that she had a bunch of crud in her throat, because she'd say, "Oi, I'm schwitzen," like that. And she did the horoscopes. And the original way I got on the morning show is I put together a demo tape of Marion Rosenthal doing the horoscopes. Gave it to Bruce, and it was a funny bit. And we gave her an urban street lean. So she was sort of a hip Jewish grandmother with a lowrider, and she was, she could talk the street lingo and the street slang, so she can relate to her peeps. And she did parody songs. We did "I'll Make Lunch for You" and "The Kosher Deli" and "Marion Day," which was the original one, sung to Dre Day. About MC Boogie D, and I have his hair is all napped, and the character kind of evolved as we moved forward, and about 6 months into the morning show, and at that time it was Smokin' Steve Hart, MC Boogie D, and all that. Special correspondent Marion Rosenthal is how we positioned it, and I would kind of just be the character in the background. And the character got so big that before when Steve Hart left, it was going to be me and Boogie D on the morning show, and we had to figure out a way to kill off Marion Rosenthal because the voices were so similar. I mean, my voice and her voice is one and the same. So we had a wedding, and we married her off to Dirty Tony the Italian Stallion, and we sent him to Italy. And Dirty Tony was incidentally Gary the Sandman's voice, and he's quoted in the Kosher Deli where he says, "More Manischewitz, Miss Rosenthal." And he did a great Italian guy, like mobster type Italian guy. And then I did the show with Boogie for about 3 or 4 months, and then we brought Marion Rosenthal back just to do horoscopes and to do character bits. But that was sort of the crux of the morning show. I mean, that character got me my job. So, I mean, I'm very thankful to the character of Marion Rosenthal, and I still do that at home every once in a while, and, you know, tease my kids with it. And they're like, "Daddy, stop doing that." Yeah, I haven't done that voice, and it's been a very long time since I've done the Marion Rosenthal character.
Oh, there was a kid that used to follow me around too, which you're familiar with, Boogity, Jacole. Jacole used to always follow me whenever I was DJing somewhere. He would be there. Hey, he would carry. Hey, can you carry my records for me? Yeah, okay. You know, he'd carry the records and stuff, and he'd be hanging around. He's like, "When you gonna let me get on the mic?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. You know, man, maybe next week." You know. He carried, "Hey, you need some help?" You know, he was everywhere I was going. I don't even know how he knew where I was going to be at. You know, but Jacole would show up to these parties I would do. You know, at the club or these fraternity parties, and so you know, I let him get on the mic a couple of times, and so I said, "You know what? Here's this young black guy. I'm going to give him a chance." I said, "Okay, I'm going to bring you in as an intern on my show." I brought him in as an intern. I said, this is what you'll do. I'll bring you in here, you'll pull cards for me. And then he started hanging around the station. And what he did is he was there, and he would want to stay around the radio station so much that he would also help the guy that came on after me. He would stay and help him. And I figured, okay, what's going to be my plan to get him on the air? So the next challenge was, how do I get him on the air? So I let him, you know, do some things here and there on the air with me, and unbeknownst to him, or I don't think I even told him a lot of the things I was doing to try to get him more airtime, is I would go on trips, and I would tell Dick and Bruce was a program director at that time, say, "Hey, I'll be doing this remote from California, from Los Angeles, so, you know, Buggy will be in here and he'll run the show, and then I'll be doing the remote." So I would get out, and so he would be able to run the show.
All right, so one thing everyone has to remember about 90% of the Power staff, we were young, naive, and not experienced when it came to radio or television. Well, there was a big MDA telethon going on, and I was asked to go represent Power 1490 on television and tell the people of Tucson on the local feed to donate money to the MDA, the Muscular Dystrophy Association. So the biggest newscaster in all of Tucson, Guy Atchley, he was hosting, and I was going to go on with Guy. I had never been on TV. I didn't know what I was doing, so he gives me a huge intro on television. "I'm Guy Atchley. We got the best DJ from Power 1490. Here's the Sandman."
And now, direct from Power 1490, Mr. Sandman, bring me some cash.
I grab the mic, I'm like, "Thanks, Guy," and I give him a little elbow, like, "Get out of my frame." He continues to step outside of frame into a planter that was like 3 feet below I was standing. So I'm there like, "Come on, everybody, come down to the Tucson Mall and donate to the MDA." And he's like this, he's like looking up at me, and it was just, to this day, I find that very funny. He probably doesn't remember or care, but I will always remember that memory.
Thank you very, very much, Guy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much,
No problem.
Mr. Sandman.